Hello, everybody. This is Merg, the founder of Thousand Hour Games and creative director on Gates of Everforge. After 3.5 years of development, I am pleased to finally be able to show our community our first ever video development update. Please note that everything in this video is quite early, extremely early. That's why I've got this important disclaimer up here that says alpha footage. It does not say beta footage. It does not say early access footage. It is alpha footage. Everything here is extremely early, right down the point that you can see my boring Windows cursor. We do have a custom cursor, of course. It's going to be a game. We've got like this little button down here. I hate the way this button looks, by the way. This is going to be redone. This is placeholder, and there's just little things like that all over the place. There's also major things that need to be fixed and we're aware of, and I'm just going to show you where we're at on things anyways. So the purpose of this video, like, this is not an advertisement of the finished and polished version of Gates of Everforge. This is a development update. I'm showing you guys the raw, unedited, and honest footage of where the game is at and what we're working on. And as we're going, you're going to be seeing a bunch of bugs, and I'm going to be talking about those bugs and what it is we're doing to address those issues and things we're considering. So first, let's talk a little bit about optimization. I'm not sure if you can make this out in your video, but I'm currently getting about 150, a little over 150 FPS just in the menu. I'm using an AMD 6900 XT. That's a pretty good GPU. It's the equivalent of like a NVIDIA RTX 3080. Getting 150 just in menu though. While recording and playing in 4K Ultra. So we got 4K Ultra, Everforge, and then recording in 4K on OBS, and then running dual monitors, which is just a little something extra. And then in game, you'll see my frames will drop down to about 45 frames, I think, in game. And that's 4K Ultra. And then on the lower end, we do have team members who are running a GTX 1060 that are able to get about medium graphics and 60 frames per second in 1080p. And so that's really, we're kind of within the bounds of what our aim was. Basically, if you have a really good card like an RTX 3080 or higher, then you'd be able to play the game in 4K, at least somewhat. Of course, get great frames in 1080p. And then on the lower end cards, like a 1060, the game's playable. Not optimal, but playable. So, you know, that's passable optimization at this point. There's always room for improvement. We're somewhat happy with it. So let's talk about the game modes. So if you recall, Gates of Everforge has two core game modes. There's the Raid mode and there's Horde. Raid is PvP. There's 4 teams of 3, and the objective of the game is to be the first team to become powerful enough to kill the final boss in the middle. It's full PvP, so you can kill and gank each other throughout that whole process, or you can just hide and farm, whatever strategy you prefer. And then the Horde mode, which is the PvE cooperative. The objective of the game is just to survive as long as possible. There are waves of monsters that gain difficulty as the game goes on, and your goal is just to survive this onslaught of beasts. You do that solo or with a team of up to 3 players. Again, you're seeing here, I won't say it too many times, but you are seeing here there's more stuff that needs to be improved. It's just kind of placeholder. So because I'm running this through the engine, not on a full build of the game, I have to run a little command here, get the server going. So here's our class selection screen. Obviously fairly inspired by other MOBAs. Let's choose the Crusader class. You'll see that a lot of these other classes are locked. This is what it'll look like when you haven't purchased them. But just note on our characters, the Crusader class is like, I'm going to say 99% complete. That 1% is just bugs. Everything's done except for fixing a few bugs. And then these other classes are largely complete to a varying degree. But still just need to be completed. For the first ever closed beta test, we're probably just going to give access to Crusader to begin, and then we'll open up to probably about 3 classes for the next phases of testing, and then for early access, I think we're looking at launching probably like 6 to 9 classes, and then very shortly after, like within weeks, at most a month, we're going to roll out additional classes. The idea is to hit early access and be able to release new content very regularly, over and over and over and over, to give the community reasons to keep on playing and keep on coming back. So you can see our skin here. We are using the Paragon characters. I know lots of people like to point that out. Yes, these are indeed the Paragon characters. Those are characters that Epic Games gave out to the entire Unreal Engine community for free a few years ago when they killed the Paragon project. We are using them in this top-down MOBA. The art, however, for both the splash art and all the skins is something that's entirely custom, made by our own 2D artist, who is extremely talented. And we're not, of course, using the Paragon character names. They are all classes instead. So this guy is the Crusader. Load screen, of course, fairly placeholder. A bunch of this stuff's going to be changed. Even little things like you see fire team, it's actually going to be red, blue, green. We're dropping the elements, there's color. You can hear the gate. You shouldn't be able to hear the gate. Hopefully that'll be removed. Here's the game. Match started. This is the base. Let's just start by talking about that. So if you're paying attention to our Discord, you may have noticed we are hiring an environment artist who's going to be coming in and improving a bunch of this stuff. We're fairly happy with the way things look, like just in terms of the theme, but there's lots of room for improvement. Lots of fine details, lots of areas to polish out. Like you can see this little strange little thing going on in the texture right there. The landscape material, rather. So this little dragon egg will be, like, again, environment stuff, this little dragon egg will be put in somewhere more meaningful. But you crack this bad boy open, and every single game, this guy's going to have a different loot table. And the loot that you receive is similar to the loot as everybody else in the game. It's not like unfair for teams. You see that guy drop a chest. You want to crack that chest, let's kill some of these monsters that are spawning in. Now, you do have to actually, you can't just instantly click to get these chests open. You do have to channel them for a minute. Damage does not interrupt it. However, CC, like a stun or a knockback or a silence from another player, will interrupt it. So we just want to prevent players from, just cracking those things open instead of fighting first. So one thing you'll notice is, like, there was a bunch of choices I had to choose from. Meanwhile, all these bugs are trying to kill me. So we noticed, of course, that players are having a hard time, making a choice whether it's in this combat. You can minimize this thing, and then there's a little timer going before you have to reopen it. So I'm going to open it up now, take a minute. Also, we're going to further simplify all these tools. So the one thing that's really important to note here is that all these pieces of gear belong to a set. And those sets unlock super powerful passive effects that change the way your players behave. You can also re-roll these if you don't like the options. Currently, re-rolling resets that timer. That's the reason I did it while I'm talking. I don't know if we're going to make it, so that seems a little unfair to you. We might make it so it gets rid of that timer. But let's kill some more stuff. Let's see what we can do. So, let's look at this Guardian plates one. So, block a flat amount of damage from every basic attack. This effect is doubled against neutral monsters. This is just basically like a PvE tanking thing. So I took re-roll. One little bug. It did not re-roll. It just gave me a different item. Corruption boost is what it gave me. I'll show you another little bug that I'm fully aware of, is that I should be able to hover here and see what corruption does, but there's some sort of bug where it's not showing the proper tools on my gear. But we have this character screen. Our UI artist is actually working to completely rebuild that character screen. Like, I think the general concept of it will stay the same, but it's going to look a lot more polished and more professional. So suddenly I have two pieces of gear. Again, that's another little bug. For some reason, there's something going on with our servers where it's giving you a second piece of gear after you stopped looting. There's the corruption set, which I did get a piece of, by the way. What it does is it's kind of like an anti-magic set. It will burn a character's mana to deal damage. How much it mana deals, kind of like your anti-mage set. There's 29 total gear sets you can use. The more pieces of gear you equip from a certain set, the stronger those sets are. So, and then you have 6 different gear slots that unlock as you level up, and then you also have these artifact slots. Artifacts are active; they're active abilities on top of an item, so it's like it's gear that also grants abilities. So you can add 2 more abilities in your Q&E, and those things also belong to gear sets. Okay, I'm leveling up. I'm gonna unlock something here. Let's get. All right. Yes. It's just. Let's just get it open. Okay, absorption, bloodletting. You can see that the cost of rerolling is actually going up. So that every time you reroll, the more expensive it gets. I'm gonna grab this let's go to retaliation. That's kind of like your oh jeez. That's kind of retaliation is whenever you get critically struck, you deal damage back to them. It also all the retaliation pieces have a ton of armor. So that's kind of your standard standard. It's your counter AD set. One thing you'll notice, so it is gates of Everforge. That is a gate. One thing we've noticed while playtesting is that in the horde mode particularly, the monsters coming at you really makes it so you just kind of feel like you want to hide in the base and not explore and go deeper. That is not the intent. So we are working on pull players forward. They encourage you to explore. You can actually, like, I've only been hugging this tiny little piece of the map right here. It's actually quite a large map. So one of the things we just added this week is healing wells, for example. So something that's on the other side of these gates is going to be a healing well for the heal. And then there's also going to be these elite camps that are stationary. When you kill them, they drop loot. They drop the same chests. And then the quality of the gear that you're getting, by the way, there's different rarities. There's common, there's uncommon, greens, blues, purples. That depends. That changes based on your luck stats. The gear scheme. So this healing well is just like randomly placed here. This is not where it's going to be placed indefinitely. This is just placed there because we literally just, like, this week we're like, hey, we need to add healing wells as a reason for people to move forward. At this time, they don't have any standard flash. Another thing is you'll notice some of these monsters are exploding. That is not going to be like all over the game, these exploding monsters. The reason we're just playing with these exploding monsters right now is because we want to make sure that in the PvE game, there is a good combination of ability damage going out as well as physical damage. And most of these monsters, lots of their monsters have spells, but we need more monsters that are dealing with ability damage, which is the exploding bug. That's going to be adjusted. Okay, so I've talked about the gear set. Talked about the artifact abilities. Those guys stuck in the wall. Very elegant. One thing I have not talked about yet is perks, because something that's really important in Gates of Everforge is the game is designed. So that you're not just doing the exact same kind of build over and over. Like in other MOBAs, or even like ARPGs. Something fell through the floor, I think. In other MOBAs, like each class is kind of like it's an AD character, or it's a caster character, or it's a tank. We want you to have a lot more flexibility in that, and one of the ways we're applying that flexibility is first through these gear sets, but also the ability perks. At levels 5, 10, and 15, you get ability perks, and there's actually a place on the map right here where you can go and purchase additional ability perks. They're randomized, so it's not like a talent tree where you get the exact same perk you want. So there's supposed to be 3 choices here. Something's just bugged. Still just one. Okay, but there's supposed to be 3 choices where you can choose to change the way your abilities behave. And like, we're talking, an ability can be turned into an AD ability, or you can massively increase the critical strike, or it changes the range of it, or it applies CC. And here's one of our favorite bugs: the invisible monster damage. So something that's not done here, you're going to have a full list of all your passes, it'll be a little easier to retaliation greaves, retaliation faceplate. Okay. I got 2 retaliation pieces. And the more pieces of gear you equip from a given gear set, the stronger that passive becomes. So, and then they display down here as well. Where's overlap abilities? The other thing we found, and we're working on, is that the AOE abilities are really too strong, and they're too so we're gonna be dealing with it. We don't want people to just be playing AOE. Of course, AOE is good against the horde monsters, and then the single target is going to be a bit more useful against the elite loot and other players. But we're also going to be increasing the mana cost of AOE abilities. Not ready to die yet. I have more talking to do. Yeah, so we're increasing the mana costs of AoE abilities, and then probably going to increase its base attack speed a little bit so that you can target it. So yeah, like all these things are going to be improved by the environment artist we're currently working on recruiting. Or not. If we don't get a new environment artist up to the task, I'll actually just do it. a little bug. So we've got these like these gates which are programmed. This little bar thing, like that's not. It's just the reason again, like I'm highlighting all this. This is a development. I just want the community to know what it is we're working through, because like we now have like over 6,000 people have signed up to play beta. And literally on a daily basis, people are asking us, like, when's the game done? When's the game going to be done? It's coming. I swear it's coming. Like, we literally work on it every single day. That is not an exaggeration. Between our 8 team members, there's always somebody working on it. And I think, personally, I mean, obviously have your own judgment, I think we have the foundations of we have the foundations of a really good game, but there's lots of bugs. Like the fact that I have 2 trillion HP. Now I'm dead. Okay, so this is actually probably a pretty good place to end the development update. And it's just a question to the audience, to our community. So in the horde mode, right now you have respawn points. Like you can die a few times and you can respawn. There could be a mechanic added where you can unlock additional respawns or purchase them or pick them up off the ground. That's one way of us doing this. Or it could just be hardcore mode where you can't respawn. Like it's 1 life, you're dead, it's over. It's basically hardcore. So let's kind of wrap up this video update with me posing that question to you guys, our players. Do you think this horde mode would be better with no respawns, you die, it's over, or should there be an ability to respawn? And with that, I bid you a good day. Also, by the way, there should probably be way more monsters coming here, but I can almost guarantee one of them is stuck in the next wave. That's spawn. Anyways, have a great day. Thanks for watching.